All right, so let's come to the differential kinematics part of the robotics. Here we look into the velocity analysis and the Jacobian. So till now we have seen how we can basically find out the relation between different links, and they were all at the actually position level. Now we move into the velocity level, where we actually assume there is a change in the position of the links with respect to time. So the analysis of velocity becomes very important. Now, this is certainly significant where you have problems like trajectory tracking or trajectory control, or you want to do dynamic analysis, or you want to do any type of control of robotic manipulators. So, mostly velocity takes a significant role, and obviously, we have acceleration also at the other level because dynamics basically includes all these parameters like velocity and acceleration also in addition to the position. Now generally we have joint velocities at the joint because joints actually move and they actually lead to the movement of the end effector. So you can always specify joint velocities and find out corresponding end effector velocities, or sometimes the end effector velocities which are desired, as we have seen earlier also as operational coordinates. At operational coordinate level we can have end effector velocities that are specified for a task, and obviously corresponding joint velocities we need to find out. Now in this case this doesn't generally happen so simply. So it has you have something called as a Jacobian matrix that actually comes into picture, so which actually we can say it is a matrix that maps the joint velocities with the end effector velocities or the vice versa. Now Jacobians also have generally two types in the definition. We have geometric Jacobian and then we have analytical Jacobian. Analytical Jacobian is actually the Jacobian that we are actually more interested in. It is also called as operational space level Jacobian because we were actually interested in the operational space velocities and the joint velocities. So that is related by the analytical Jacobian, or we can call it as Jacobian in general. So with these velocities and Jacobians, we come to something called as kinematic singularities in the mechanisms or the robots. We'll be talking about this later on. And then this is also very important in the statics, or you can say manipulatory design, where the design is based on the static analysis or the robot in equilibrium, robot applying a force on a rigid body or on any other surface which where it doesn't really move, but it's just a force being applied. So in that case we generally refer to them as static cases. So in those cases we have Jacobian playing a role, and again we have singularity in those cases also, or we have definition for singularity in the force domain. So in a sense you have something called as kinetostatic duality. So you see some relations or some similarities in the velocity and in the static level of the systems. Actually similarity in the mapping matrix, that is the Jacobian. Now let's come to velocity analysis. So we are interested in looking at or finding out the linear velocity of a point. Point here could refer here to the point on the rigid body or on the robotic link. So in general we assume that a robotic link rotates and also moves, but it's all with the help of the actuators located at the joints. And rotational velocity is generally for a link rather than for a point, because point doesn't have any rotation significance to rotation. So generally whenever we talk about rotation, so it's for a rigid body or for a link. And the linear velocity of a point or the point velocity actually would refer here to the origin of the link in general for our case. Then we will be also interested in looking at the velocity propagation, how the velocity of the subsequent link actually is dependent on the velocity of the previous link and its own component of the velocities. So we'll see those things again. Before deriving the velocity, we have seen that we generally see that there's a transformation matrix involved, or which we call as rotation matrix, that is involved when we transform a vector or a position vector from one frame to another frame. And obviously, since again in this case we will be dealing with the movement of that vector with respect to time, so which is obviously the velocity vector. So we are somehow will be encountering the differentiation of the rotation matrix. So before we do the analysis, let's look at the derivation of the derivative of the rotation matrix. Now rotation matrix, as we have already seen, it's an orthogonal matrix. So we have a time varying rotation matrix Q. So because it's orthogonal, I'm sorry, you can just write it maybe R in itself. So because we have the orthogonality, so this relation holds true, that R transport is equal to the identity matrix, that you can verify also, we have seen earlier. Now on differentiating this equation, so we have R dot R transpose plus R dot transpose is equal to 0, because differentiation here would lead to 0, and this is by the UV rule of the differentiation. Now let's substitute S, a matrix S, which we can, R dot R transpose can be assumed to be equivalent to some matrix S, where S is a 3x3 skew symmetric matrix. Why it's a skew symmetric matrix, we'll see, because any skew symmetric matrix actually will hold this type of relation. So a skew symmetric matrix is a matrix which is symmetric but whose diagonals are generally null, and then the off diagonal elements are actually the of the opposite signs. So we'll see that later on. So it is a property of these skew symmetric matrices that their transpose with each other is equal to 0, the addition of the transpose. So that's why we imply something like this: S plus S transpose is equal to 0. You can verify it from there if we substitute this back here, which implies if we post multiply both sides of S now, that is R dot R transpose by R, so we'll get R dot is equal to SR. So now if we multiply this R here, SR by R dot R transpose R, so since R transpose R is equal to identity, so this will become R dot. So R dot is actually equal to S into R, or the matrix S multiplied by matrix R. So we have now got the time differentiation, or you can say derivative of the rotation matrix is actually a multiplication of two matrices, where S is a skew symmetric matrix and R is that rotation matrix which was already used at the position level. Also you can say that S is equal to R dot R inverse. Alright, so this will be very much useful to us later on, this relation R dot is equal to SR, and we'll see the significance of S in the coming slide and what actually S would mean for us and how important this is. Alright, so now let's move to the velocity of a point due to the rotating reference frame. So now let's assume we have a frame in black color. So this is our base frame, and let's assume there is another frame which is not translating with respect to frame, but it is just rotating with respect to this frame, which is in red color. And then let's assume we have a vector denoting a point P, and then obviously from the origin both will merge. So we can express this vector actually in this one, or we can express this first in the red one and then transform it as per the transformation between the two frames. So now in this case the most important thing is that we assume now these frames actually are moving. So rather than keeping a constant angle, here we could take actually a transformation matrix. Now this angle actually is changing with time. So now initially we could say something like this. So we have vector. Now let's denote this as P, and let's denote this as frame A, and this red one is frame B. Let me keep it here also. Alright, so P in B and P in A. Now we have seen earlier, we can always write P in A is equal to P in B pre-multiplied by rotation matrix, which transforms this vector from B to A. Something like this. Alright. Now in this case, obviously we are not looking at the origin having, the origin being at distance place from the frame A. So here both the origins are merging, so that part will become 0. So that's why we just have relation like this. I hope this is very clear and evident. Now if we differentiate this, so we'll have P dot A is equal to, first we differentiate this, R dot PB plus R PB dot, something like this. So this is very clear. Now if you see this carefully now, so we have R dot coming into picture, R is remaining same, P is same, we have P dot now and P dot A. So this is obviously now the velocity of point P. So velocity of point P in A is equal to the position vector in B pre-multiplied by the derivative of the rotation matrix plus rotation matrix multiplied by the velocity of point P in B. Now if P is not varying in its local frame, that is PB dot is 0, so that could be the case. P is maintaining a constant angle actually with this thing, and then the whole frame is moving, so that could be also the case. In that case, P dot B would be equal to 0, so which would reduce this previous equation to actually P dot A is equal to R dot B to A PB. Now we have seen already R dot is equal to S into R in the previous slide, where S is skew symmetric matrix. So we can substitute that here. So we will get S into R instead of this. So I'll say S into R, where R is B to A PB. Now, so this one actually is nothing but PA. So P dot A is actually equal to S into P of A. So we have transformed. So we have represented the velocity of point P in A actually by the position vector multiplied by S skew symmetric matrix. Now obviously these two frames are actually, obviously red frame is moving related to black frame, or you can say frame B is moving with respect to frame A, obviously about some axis, or it could be about all the three axes in a more general case. Now let's assume that it's moving with some angular velocity, obviously because we are assuming we are doing velocity analysis. So B is supposed to move with respect to A with some velocity. So let that velocity actually be equal to omega. So omega denotes, omega here it's actually vector which has three components obviously. So omega, let's assume omega denotes the angular velocity of the rigid body now, or you can say the frame B. You can say the frame B attached to a rigid body, or you can simply say the omega is the angular velocity of the frame B with respect to frame A, or even you can say it's a rigid of angular velocity of the rigid body with respect in frame B. Now, so from the fundamentals of mechanics, we can say that P dot A is actually equal to omega B with respect to A cross the position vector of point P in A. So this is true from mechanics. If you see this relation and the relation here, so we can deduce from here that S is actually equal to omega cross 1. Alright, and if omega has this type of structure where it has three components, omega x, omega y, omega z, then S is defined this way. So S actually, this skew symmetric matrix is defined the way I told you already. So you have zeros in the diagonals, and then you have opposite sides with the z components, y component, x components in this form, and accordingly the off diagonal elements having symmetry. All right, so now we can have velocity of a point due to linearly moving and rotating reference frame. So in this case, now we have this frame B actually linearly moving and also rotating with respect to frame A. So now frame B is actually moving away from A and also rotating with respect to A. So we have additionally this component, the distance between the origins, that is coming into picture. So this can be easily resolved. So this is again point P, P in A, P in B, and this is, you can say, OA, and this is OB. Now in this case, this is the relation that we had used in the homogeneous transformation matrix derivations, that P in A is equal to P in B and transform from B to A plus OB with respect to A. Now again, if you differentiate this, we'll get something like this. Again, substituting by omega cross this one, we can get this type of relation. And if again PB is fixed or time invariant in the local frame, so we get this type of relation. So it's nothing but the addition of this much in the equation that we have seen in the previous slide. All right, so this is how we basically find out the velocity of any point actually with respect to a frame which is moving with respect to the base frame or the previous frame.